Hi. Well, Halloween is over. I'm sure you've been eating a lot of chocolates and candy, and I'm sure all the plaques in your mouth are probably having a party. But have you been brushing your teeth? Well, today let's talk about toothbrushing. I would tell everyone to invest in an electric toothbrush because there are so many research that showed that electric toothbrush does clean better than your manual toothbrush. But there are a lot of people who don't want to go and buy an electric toothbrush because they like what they have, which is an old-fashioned manual toothbrush. So today, let's talk about how you can use this to brush a lot of your plaque off your tooth. There are three areas you gotta have to think about whenever you're using a manual toothbrush, which are one being the most easy part, which is the most visible surface, the top of the tooth. Second being the spaces between the tooth, on the side like this, and also the gum area. Disclaimer, my method of brushing your teeth may be different from other dentists, but I'm just teaching you guys how I usually brush my teeth. The first area when you are using a manual toothbrush is the most visible part, also the most easiest part to clean, which is the top surface of the tooth. When it comes to that, it's really nothing more I need to say than to brush and try to clean as much as you can. Make sure you get all around the tooth, right? This is mostly important for the molar because most of the cavities that patients come to get treated are molars. So you want to make sure you want to clean those molar correctly. Now, the second area you need to think about when using a manual toothbrush or any toothbrush in general is the spaces between the tooth. I clean it like this. There is another method we call the bass or the modified bass technique where you have to roll it like this. I'm sure a lot of dentists have told you to use this method, but rolling your toothbrush like this, it's not simple enough. So I would just brush like how you're taught when you're a kid. But you don't want to brush too hard because brushing too hard does cause some harm. We call that abrasion. So the area between the tooth is pretty much impossible to clean effectively using a manual toothbrush or any toothbrush in general. So that's where floss and interdental brushes comes in. Well, and if you're young, age between maybe like say 20 to 30 or anyone under 20, you may have trouble using the interdental brushes because the spaces between the tooth are pretty much covered with the gingiva. So trying to forcing those interdental brushes could do more harm than good. So that's where floss comes in. Because floss, you can definitely fit that tiny piece of string between the teeth and you can clean that out. But flossing is also quite of a work for a lot of people. So I would just tell them if you don't like to floss, then maybe, invest in an irrigator. Water irrigator, there's many brands. One typically is a water pick. That will pretty much clean the spaces between the teeth a little bit more fun and less of a pain. But if your age is maybe plus 30, then the spaces between the tooth may be visible. Maybe gums kind of like receded a little bit, where interdental brushes comes in handy. Of course, they can also get a water irrigator because it works the same way. But if you don't want to invest in an irrigator, you can definitely use interdental brushes to clean the spaces between the tooth, along with brushing with your toothbrush. So the third area you need to think about when using a manual toothbrush is the gums. You want to clean the gums using your toothbrush, especially a manual toothbrush. You don't want to brush it because it does cause harm. You don't want your gums to bleed. Instead of brushing that area, you want to just kind of like tilt the toothbrush, the head of the toothbrush into the angle against the gum line. And you want to just kind of like vibrate or kind of wiggle it. This way, you're not hurting the gum, rather kind of like stimulating and cleaning at the same time. And that's pretty much it to effectively brush your teeth using a manual toothbrush. Just make sure that you spend 2 minutes minimum to clean all quadrants. So We have 4 quadrants in our mouth. You want to make sure you clean all the quadrants and make sure to floss or interdental brushes or use the irrigator to make sure to clean those spaces between the tooth, because that's where a lot of cavities or calculus tend to form. And if you have a cavities between the tooth, that's 2 cavities instead of 1. So be mindful of that, because you don't want to pay for 2 cavity treatments. You want to pay for 1 cavity treatment to save some money. Or actually better yet, you don't want to pay for any cavity treatment because you're gonna be brushing your teeth very well. So that was a short video of me trying to teach you guys how to use your manual toothbrush. And if you enjoyed or if you learned something, won't you give me a like? And if you want to learn more, you can subscribe. And till then, see you next time. Peace.